My first day on the island began simply enough. I was chopping down a tree, just minding my own business really. Then I heard a strange sound. A small golem zombie-like creature was running around in circles and gave me an almighty smack. So, like a good video game hero, I ran through the forest until I once again felt safe. When night came, I made a fire to keep warm. As I waited for the freedom of sunlight, the creatures returned. But this time, instead of running around or hitting me, they just stood at the edge of the firelight and stared. Until I realised I was running out of leaves to keep the fire going. As the fire waned, the creatures grew closer, and when the light finally failed, they overran me. If this kind of upsetting experience sounds like it's for you, then let me tell you why you should play The Forest. The Forest was developed by Undnight Games and was released in early access in May of 2014 and made its full release in April of 2018. The game begins with the player character on a plane with their son that crashes onto an island. You wake to see your son being taken by a strange humanoid creature. You set out with the task of saving your son and uncovering the mysteries of the island. It is an interesting and well executed premise that we'll discuss later, but none of it would be half as compelling if it wasn't built on such an extensive crafting system. The Forest has an interesting take on crafting systems seen in many survival games. There are two forms of crafting. Tools and weapons are crafted using a crafting mat. You can pull up a mat at any time, and it seconds as an inventory. A really unique one at that. It's not a list of things, it is literally all of your stuff spread out on a mat. Organised nicely, but it's an organic and intuitive way of taking stock and crafting your tools. It's also gratifying to see this map fill with an eclectic mix of artifacts as you progress through the game. There is no list of recipes here either. The game wants you to experiment, and that certainly is fun, but there's always the wiki if that isn't your bag. The other form of crafting concerns building structures and takes a completely different approach. You're given what is essentially a catalogue of items that you can build. You place down the blueprint and add the ingredients until it's completed. There's definitely some customization you can do here though. Any size of wall or platform is easy to customize. The tool can get a little clunky, but it works well for the most part. This all adds up to a satisfying loop of building a functional base that gets more complex with farms, water collectors and little homes, while you are improving your tools and weapons by exploring and foraging. This is all pretty great, but many survival games lose their bite when you establish yourself in the world. You get comfortable. The Forest never really gets to this point. Even after you've built a base and acquired a number of weapons, you still feel under threat. When night falls, the creatures will come. They will scream at you from outside, they will get stronger. If you don't set up enough traps or defend it yourself, they may destroy what you have built. This challenge and atmosphere is the environment that allows the crafting to shine. A lot of your time in the forest will, strangely enough, be spent in a forest, exploring, whether that be to collect resources or to unravel the mysteries of the island. Fortunately, this forest is beautifully rendered. Dense and varied vegetation, rolling landscapes, and roaming hills make for a pleasant jaunt. But not everything is fine and dandy. There are villages made of those cursed creatures, and they will occasionally attack, but more often they will follow and watch. This is the genius of this game. It isn't an occasional jump scare. The developers understand that the route to horror is tension. The creatures will watch and you may not even notice them. Then you do. From that point on, you always feel like you are being watched. They even make unsettling noises, but the forest makes its own noises. You can't be sure if that rustling was just the wind or something coming to get you. You feel like you are under siege at all times, and it's bloody brilliant. Even the weapons you make are unwieldy. You don't get to feel like a powerhouse. You feel like you've got just enough to survive. This is most evident when you go down into the caves below the island. They are dark, unsettling, and it is the only time that I've ever played a multiplayer game where we were all afraid. But you have to go down there, because those caves are where you can unravel the mysteries of the island and what happened to your son. The driving force of your time in the forest will be discovering the secrets of the island and finding your son. This is done through mostly environmental storytelling. There are a few cutscenes, particularly near the end, but most of your discoveries will be pictures that your son drew, photos of previous occupants of the island, or even letters. Truly understanding what is happening or happened on the island takes some attention, and a little detective work, but it is a compelling story that is slowly unveiled to you. It even does this on a smaller scale. You'll find abandoned camps and ships around the island that, when explored, tell the story of what happened to the people who once lived there. The Forest is a phenomenal marriage of Lovecraftian horror and survival games. It has an extensive, satisfying crafting system, an ever-present atmosphere, and a compelling mystery to unravel. But more importantly, all of these elements mesh together effortlessly. The mystery serves as your motivation, the crafting as your tools to complete your tasks, and the atmosphere as a constant layer of pressure and tension to keep it all nice and interesting. This is a treacherous trip to the forest you should take, and if you enjoyed this little game recommendation, then subscribe for a new one every week.